I recently watched this video by Luc. He essentially talks about how the filmmaking middle class is over, and I really heavily agree with that, so I'm gonna talk about my take on it. He mentions that you have to make yourself unique in some way, and that's what will get you hired. I have some mixed feelings on that, so let me explain. Firstly, there used to be this genre of video person that would get hired solely for doing a thing. Like, for example, you're a colorist, or you're an editor, or you're a camera operator, and you get hired solely for that, and there's a bunch of jobs on set, and you need these bigger crews, and everybody's doing that one dedicated job. I think to some extent that kind of filmmaking will still exist, like for large budget movies, but the market share of that will pretty much be gone, other than those big budget movies. In my experience, kind of before this whole recession thing that we have going on, it was really easy to get hired to just be a camera operator on like a show or something. Since a lot of these crews are essentially shrinking, then those jobs where you're doing just one specific role or where you're getting hired by an agency, that's all getting constricted. The crews are becoming smaller. A lot of times the agencies have video guys themselves, so they'll go and shoot the stuff. A lot less contractors, a lot less crew. Everything is getting smaller and lighter and easier to use. You used to have a sound guy. Now you can just get away with using these, and for the most part, I mean, on an actual film set, you might use something a little nicer, but for most purposes, this is perfectly fine. And they're only developing these more. DJI is making them, and a bunch. So here you go. A solo operator could easily put this on, get good audio. You used to have to drive a helicopter. Now you have this. You can just get aerial shots with this. Everything is becoming just smaller, and people have more access to it, and it's just getting better and better. You used to only be able to shoot things at high quality if you had a good camera. Now, your iPhone shoots perfectly passable video. What happens, and what has been happening in my experience, is that a lot of business owners and people who would typically pay for content realize that they don't really need all that. Let's say I'm a pizza restaurant. I could have my niece or one of the employees or whatever do the content. Like, they could just do the content on their phone on TikTok, and that'll get people through the door. I don't need to hire some video crew, pay them $5,000 to make me some commercial content when people come through the door just from TikToks. So the landscape of sales and video and marketing is completely changing. And the barrier to entry is just getting lower and lower and lower. Or they get one of those Osmo Pockets. It has audio. It has 4K, 10-bit, and a gimbal. Like, just insane. For $700. Why would they hire us? What like Luc is referring to is that middle of the pack kind of video job is definitely disappearing. Like, faster than ever. It seems to me right now like the people who are thriving is either the people who already made it to the tippy top. They have like an incredible network. They work with a production company or something, and that really like shoots a lot of stuff for Netflix, or that is connected with one of the major networks, or maybe they're connected with some sort of YouTuber, or either they have immaculate connections, or they're really good at sales and they're doing more of the B2B approach and then going to businesses and selling them packages. But the packages are also changing, because I used to sell packages and people would be cool with just like a commercial. Now it seems like people want more of like a monthly content package of like, hey, we'll go and shoot and we'll make you enough TikToks and enough Instagram reels for the month. And that's kind of like becoming more and more popular this way. But even that, like, in my opinion, is really hard to sell, because like if I'm looking at it from the point of view of like, say, a restaurant where your margin's already extremely thin, why would you spend that money on a video person? You could easily just film TikToks on your own, or have one of your Gen Z employees do it. So I think the market share of people wanting to do video content is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The crews are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And a lot more people are getting into this. Like, it's fun. It's fun, and we're not that special. I would say that within about, I don't know, maybe like 20 hours of doing a little bit of YouTube research, you could probably be shooting some perfectly passable video, because everything is so easy now. It's not even expensive. Like, the Osmo Pocket is $700 for like an all-inclusive video package. You don't even have to worry about lenses and like, the lights and blah, blah. Obviously your video looks better, and there's obviously a place for video people, but I think it's a really niche product, and it's really hard to sell. In my opinion, I also think that not on social media, which has kind of been part of my effort to be on social media, is if you're not on social media, you're dead in the water, because people are not only hiring you for you, but they're hiring you for the you that they see online. And they're hiring you for the you that they see while they're on the toilet, or they're just like watching TV or something, and they just are reminded that you exist, or they like your personality, or they've watched your content and they think that you're a cool person. Like it's a lot more. Yes, I mean there's a possibility that you, let's say you shoot weddings and you shoot them a really particular way, and then that becomes like your unique client base, that you shoot them a certain way and that's the kind of client that's coming to you. That's possible to be that unique. I think it's a lot more personality based. Like people are hiring you based on your personality and they already like you and they see you on the internet. So I think if you're a content creator, you kind of have to be on the internet. You kind of have to be on social media. But we'll see. This is my new attempt at doing this. This is my attempt at being more on social media. So we'll see. Of being unique, like I think being unique is getting, not to totally disagree with Luke, but I just feel like there's not like a being unique anymore. Like, yeah, you can be pretty good at what you do, but it's still a niche client, like a DP, like the Wandering DP or whatever, that can film these commercials and light a certain way. Like that's such a niche product that how booked out can you be that you're busy all the time with just doing that? I think the percentage of people that can get booked out by doing just that one thing is very, very small. Most people in the video industry are probably the middle of the road, middle class videographer, and I think a lot of people are struggling. I think a lot of people are probably going to like switch careers or do something else. Another thing is I don't buy too much into the AI mumbo jumbo, but I do think one aspect is that will be accelerated by AI, because I don't think that this whole thing where, oh, we type into a text and we get a whole movie, I don't think that that'll come for a long time. What I do think will happen, and I've seen it with Photoshop AI, is, for example, you used to have a photo editor. Why would you do that when you could just circle something and be like, delete this trash can to the AI, and it just completely does it? I think what AI will do is it'll facilitate the crew thing getting smaller and the less people needed. But the less people needed, that's less jobs and less ways that you could break in. You have to do the little crummy jobs in order to get the good jobs. So if there's no little crummy jobs for you to do, then how are you supposed to get to the good jobs? But the Photoshop AI is a great example. It's like, somebody would have been sitting there and editing these pictures, and now with the AI, it just makes it so much faster. And I think that that's probably going to come with color grading. That's the next one that I foresee getting deleted, is like, why wouldn't you be able to just take a movie and then be like, hey, can you color it like The Matrix? And then just tweak it here and there, and then then you don't even have to color it. It's just all done by AI. So that's somebody's job deleted right there. And yes, I know in the comments people will be like, well, in like LA and like you think that the Marvel movies or whatever are not gonna have like the top tier colors. Like, okay, fine, maybe there's one guy that's busy in Hollywood, but it's not like a slew of jobs for everybody else. Maybe there's going to be like a handful of people that are always on those Marvel movies, and they're always on those big budget movies, and they're just lucky to be in that circuit, and then they're going to be doing that, and they're going to die doing that. And that's great, but that leaves like a lot of other people that would have potentially been doing that job that now don't have access to that job or don't have access to that. It's just basic numbers game. There's a lot of video people and there's very little video jobs. You either have to be extremely unique, like Luke said, and bring something extremely interesting to the table, or you have to just be incredible at sales or like an incredible business person, and you're just able to convince people a lot to buy your product. I still feel like that leaves a lot of room for people that are not making that much money, and then that makes it feel like a race to the bottom as well, because you're undercutting each other. Because if like everybody kind of shoots the same quality and owns the same gear, and the restaurant or whatever can get good quality on their own, then your price has to be really competitive. So now we're at the race to the bottom type of thing, and then it just kind of like doesn't end. So now that puts us at the race to the bottom category, and then we're just undercutting each other continuously. Pretty grim out there. It's a combination of a bunch of things. We're clearly in some sort of recession, record layoffs, nobody's filming. They're filming out of the States. Actually just saw like, yeah, they're not really filming movies in the States. People aren't really that busy. I just think it's going to get worse before it gets better. It'll probably get better at some point, but it's probably going to get worse. It's kind of grim, but yeah, let me tell you, there's probably few and far people in between that actually make a super livable wage, or at least a good wage, doing this. And I know in the comments there's going to be somebody that's like, not me, I'm balling. Well, good for you, okay? Good for you that you're balling. Get on social media, start making content, Try to find your niche. I think I'm going to try to get back into weddings because I just feel like they're really consistent and they're really kind of, I wouldn't say easy, but they're really formulaic. So that's the next thing I'm going to do to try and get some consistency, because it has been kind of spotty, and I think that you just have to try and like adapt and readapt and change things. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. So comment down below. And till next time.